welcome to episode 6 of the random album generator game. I've got 3 more selections have been made for today's episode, but today we've got 5 albums for the price of 3, because the first selection made today was this: Kate Bush remastered in vinyl volume 2. Now, this is a box set, 4 of these altogether. This is the second version, and it features the 3 albums, starting off with 1985's The Hounds of Love. Now, they all come in the box in the form that they were originally released in, the original cover, the original insides, interior sleeves, all in black vinyl, and all issued on the Fish People label. That is Kate Bush's label now. So, the first one, 1985 job, Hounds of Love. Now, this is the album which a lot of people will tell you is Kate Bush's best album. A lot of people will also try and tell you it's the best album ever. I know one person who thinks this is the best album in the world ever. I know a lot of people who think it's Kate Bush's album. It's a well-held thing amongst die-hard Kate Bush fans. Personally, maybe I'm a bit shallower than some. I still prefer the earlier albums, especially the first one. That would be my particular favourite. Now, Kate Bush, of course, is one of those Marmite figures, isn't she? You either love Kate Bush or you hate her because of the eccentricities of her voice. Where personally, you can tell which camp I'm in by the fact that I've not only got remastered in vinyl 2, but I've also got remastered in vinyl 1, 3 and 4 as well. So it's pretty obvious which camp I'm in. So that's the way it is with artists like Kate Bush. Now this album, what's it got on it, which is one of the tracks you're probably going to know. Well, Running Up That Hill, or Running Up the Hill is the first track on side 1, obviously. Everybody knows that big hit single. Also Big Sky and Cloud Bursting were on that side as well. Well-known tracks, those. Now, this album was split in 2 parts. It was side 1 was the side with those songs on the singles. The second side was a bit of a concept album, which was called The Ninth Wave, and featured sort of 6 or 7 tracks, which all sort of blended in together. Now, it takes a bit of getting into, if you like, but give it some time and listen to it, and it's really good. The first track, And Dream of Sleep, is an absolute masterpiece, and the final 2, Hello Earth and The Morning Fog, are not that far behind either. I'm sure there's plenty of links to this album. This album, I'm not going to go into too much detail now because it's just supposed to be a quick look, and we've also got to do the other 2 in the box yet. But we'll try and put a link in to some of these. Possibly not as immediately accessible as the first 2 or 3 albums, but it's still a great album. And bear in mind that die-hard Kate Bush fans say this is the best album of the lot. The second one in the box came out 4 years later. Now we're starting to get into that time now where people are times between releases. Don't forget, Kate Bush's first 2 albums both came out in 1978. Here she's taken 4 years off in between Hounds of Love and this one, The Sensual World. Now this is probably the first of the ones that is a little bit, does take a while to get into. It's a little bit deeper. It's grown-up music, if you like. There's not so much sort of pop music on this. Looking on there, this woman's work is probably, and The Sensual World are probably the 2 most well-known tracks, but this is where it's sitting down thinking about it, music, as much as anything with this. But it is really good. It's worth persevering with. It's a good album. Again, it's not maybe as accessible as the early stuff, but it's good. Kate Bush then took another 4 years off before coming up with this one, The Red Shoes. Now this is an album that divides opinion again. Some people think it's brilliant, some people think it isn't. It's got Rubber Band Girl on it, which is obviously a great track. So's the Red Shoes as well. There's lots of good songs. And again, this is more of an album than a singles sort of record. It's really nicely put together. A nice cover, nice sort of inside as well, with all the lyrics and all that sort of stuff. Now, I would say if you're only going to buy one of these remastered in vinyl ones, you probably want to buy the first one and the last one, maybe. Maybe the first one or the third one. I can't quite remember what the third one finishes off. But anyway, that's for a different video. Now these, well, they were pretty pricey when they came out. You can pick them up. Not too bad now. I think 50, 60 quid you can get this one for. Which one you think? It's got 3 albums in it. Only 20 quid an album, and they're really nicely put together. And this one it's been turned into a double as well, so that you get better sound quality on it. The only disappointment for me with these, there aren't any extras. There's no sort of B-sides or outtakes. It would be nice to have stuck an extra disc in or something with a few on, and there's no supporting booklets or anything. It would have been nice to have had a little book in there just explaining maybe what had gone on through the years and all that sort of, maybe some press clippings and that sort of thing, just to make it a little bit more of a collection. These are really, I think, either aimed at the people who haven't got the albums in the first place, or people like me who've worn the earlier albums out and have got some of the late ones on CD and wanted to get them all on vinyl. But all in all, it's a nice little set. There's 4 to collect all together. They're nicely put together, just missing that little bit of something to make them stand out for me. But they're good pressings and they're nice quality thing. The only downside, of course, with these things is because they go in a box, you can't put a protective cover on them, so when you get them out, you've got to watch out for fingerprints. And what you don't want to be doing is holding it in your hand while you're doing a video for too long. Anyway, that's the first selection today. Kate Bush, remastered in vinyl, volume 2. Okay, moving on to the second album today. This is one of the records I play quite a lot. And it's by a band that a lot of you will probably know, but not necessarily a lineup that you will all necessarily know. It's the James Gang, Passing Through. Now, most people think of the James Gang, they think of the early James Gang with Joe Walsh. And Joe Walsh left, of course, and was replaced by this chap here on this one called Dominic Troiano. Now, let me tell you a little about how I sort of got into this. It's a double-way thing. When Dominic Troiano left the James Gang after these, he made 2 albums, both in 1974. This came out in 1974, called Passing Through. They brought one out earlier in 74 as well, which was called Straight Shooter. Bizarrely the same title as the Bad Company album from the year after. But anyway, that's not the reason I'm there. After he'd done this album, he left the James Gang and went to join the Guess Who. Now, eagle-eared viewers, eagle-eared, I don't know what it is anyway. Anyway, people who've been paying attention will have realised from earlier videos that there's a chap called Burton Cummins who I did a video on a couple of weeks ago. He was the lead singer and main person behind the band, The Guess Who. Now, when Randy Bachman left The Guess Who, they had some new guitarists come in. At that one particular point, the guitarist that came in after he'd left the James Gang was Dominic Troiano. Where are you going with all this? I can hear you saying, well, who replaced Dominic Troiano in the James Gang at the same time that Dominic Troiano went and joined the Guess Who was none other than Tommy Bolin from Deep Purple. So that's, of course, how I ended up getting into it, because obviously, yeah, I'd heard the Joe Walsh stuff, the early stuff, but I wanted to get the albums with Tommy Bolin on. I got the albums with Tommy Bolin on, and they featured a singer called Roy Kenner. Now, I quite liked him. I thought, he's not a bad singer, I like him, this band are good. I was in a shop one day, I doesn't say which one on there, and I saw this in the whole second album bin, it was, I think, and I thought, oh look, that's James Gang. Oh, it's Dominic Troiano, who's he? I hadn't got a clue he was at that point. But the rest of them are all the ones that are in with Tommy Bolin. I'll get that, it'll be good. I got it, and it was good. And I thought, this Dominic Troiano fella's quite good. I then went and discovered the Guess Who, and that's how I discovered Burton Cummins, and that set me down that road as well. So it shows you how you start collecting music, especially from the sort of the 60s and 70s. People move from band to band and stuff. You can very quickly find yourself going from one band to another band, back to another band, back to somewhere else, totally different. And it was, I suppose, again, we go back to the Deep Purple connection all the time, don't we? But it was getting into the James Gang, listening to the albums of Tommy Bolin and then Dominic Troiano, that made me get then into Burton Coins, which then made me start investigating Canadian music. And I've now got so much sort of Canadian music, gone away from rock. A lot of the female singer-songwriters. I've got tons of Canadian stuff that I was sent to review and stuff. Some really good stuff that a lot of people have never really listened to. It's never been released over here. Anyway, getting back to this because I'm rambling. James Gang, Passing Through. It's what it is. It's a mid-1970s American rock album. It's got a track on it called Ain't Seen Nothing Yet, which is another crazy thing really, because Batman Turner, which I was Batman out of Guess Who, he had a song called Ain't Seen Nothing Yet as well. It's a totally different song, but it's got the same title. It's brilliant. Drifting Girl, that track is great. Run's another good one. Up to Yourself, everybody needs to hear. And there's some really, really good stuff on here. Dominic Trower is a great songwriter. He obviously came in and took over the songwriting thing with Roy Kenner as well. But the two albums of Dominic Trower are great. Dominic Trower and I Guess Who is great. Dominic Trower's solo albums are great as well. Of course, the James Gang went on with other people afterwards. So that was the second one today. Well worth grabbing hold of a copy of that. I'm sure you could pick that up for next to nothing. But it's if you like mid-70s American rock music, it's good stuff. And I'll put a link into that because I think quite a lot of you will like that.
The Man in the Attic.
Hi there, good evening and welcome to my first contribution to Crushed Custard, my dear friend Martin's YouTube channel, where he does reviews of albums, etc, and I'm sure we'll be bringing you even more kind of exclusive content at some point in the future. Martin's asked me to do a few things, maybe just do a few album reviews and things like that, and this is my first one, so welcome. Like Martin, I'm a huge fan of Deep Purple, so but my collection, like his, is quite eclectic and quite varied. So the first review that I'm bringing is a review of this, an album by Robin Trower. Now, as some of you will probably already have spotted, it's one of those more exclusive releases. It's a good old vinyl bootleg from the early 70s, from 1973 to be precise, recorded in Chicago, I would assume, as it says it's recorded in the City by the Bay, and it was recorded with the original lineup of the Robin Trower band, with Reg Isidore on drums and Jimmy Dewar from X of Stone the Crows on bass and vocals. And what a lineup that was. They recorded the first few albums of Robin Trower's solo career. This would have been recorded while they were touring the first album, Twice Removed from Yesterday, as most of the tracks on this are from that. And they would have been probably in the process of writing and recording the second album, Bridge of Sighs, which for me is a guitar album par excellence. It is a work of genius, that second album. But Twice Removed from Yesterday is none too shabby either. Now this is, if you don't have it and you do like Robin Trower, get it if you ever see it. It's quite old now, but it's still there. I think I obtained this copy in the past somewhere off eBay, and it is fantastic. It is from an FM broadcast, recorded in a small radio studio, so that the sound quality is excellent. It really is good. A real solid FM quality, recorded in front of a very small audience. There's very polite snattering of applause in between songs, and the balance of the sound is incredibly good. And it's got Robin Trower's killer guitar tone. Now, I'm not a guitar player, but if I played the guitar, this is what I would want it to sound like. Just marvellous. The track listing is on side 1, The Fool and Me, Twice Removed from Yesterday, Lady Love, and the beautiful, brilliant, dreamy, almost Pink Floyd-esque Daydream. Brilliant tune. Side 2 kicks off with Day of the Eagle from Bridge of Sighs, I Can't Wait Much Longer, Man of the World, Sinner's Song, and a little bit of Sympathy. As I said earlier, it's in the sleeve notes here. It says recorded live in 1973 in the city by the bay. It says thank you to the Magic Patch Bay for keeping it aside, preserved on wax in the miracle of stereophonic sound. This record should be played as loud as you can stand it at. And then rather cheekily they say, we all miss Jimmy's music ourselves. Bye now. It's on, the label it's on is, if you collect these things, and I've got a number of old boots, it's Cornyphone Records, Tackrell. Here's their catalogue numbers, Tackrell 1939. This one is, and again, if you do like Robin Trower, grab yourself a copy if you ever see it. You will not be disappointed. For me, Trower always delivers. I think that phase of his life when he had Jimmy Dewar on bass and vocals is great. There's the Hendrix influence, which we all know and appreciate, but for me it was like having Hendrix and with Jimmy Dewar's superb voice, like having Paul Rodgers along with Hendrix in the same band. Wonderful stuff. So we do hope you have enjoyed this. We might, I don't know, be calling this something like Musings from the Man in the Attic, or Wisdom from the Loft, something like that, because this is where I retire to listen to music when I get the chance. I don't get a lot of opportunity these days, and this is the only place in my house where I can have my proper stereo system set up with my lovely old, you can't see them, but my lovely old floor standing Tannoy speakers and whatever, and I can come up here, and if no one else is in the house I can crank it up and take it. My children tell me to turn it down. That's what it's like. So anyway, yes, get this if you see it. You will not be disappointed. It is superb, and I hope you keep tuning in to Martin's Crush Custard. I've found it hugely enjoyable, and I hope to be doing some more guest spots soon. So goodbye for now from the man in the attic, the Purple Cockney himself. Look that up on Google, type it all in as one word, Purple Cockney, and see what comes up. See you soon. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, depending on what time of day you're looking at it. Wherever you are in your day, have a good one. See you soon.
Today's third album is a CD, and it's this one. It's one that some of you may not know about. It's Frankie Miller's Double Take. Now, we all know what a big fan of Frankie Miller I am. We've seen the video. Well, in fact, Frankie Miller was the first main review that I did when setting this channel up. So I think he's probably the first person to come out twice, if you like. Of course, a great career, Frankie Miller. Never really got the credit that he deserved. That I think all became the star that he was, and then sadly had a sort of brain aneurysm a few years ago and couldn't talk and couldn't do anything basically. But he's gradually been rehabilitated and getting himself back together, and also so now apparently he can strum a guitar and talk a little bit, so that's all good and great stuff. But there's a producer called Dave McKay had this idea. He said to Frankie Miller's wife, have you got any stuff that he was like working on that's not quite finished or something? And she said, oh, loads of it. And apparently he gave him bin bags full of tapes, or boxes full of tapes. And what he did was he took what had been recorded, and then he got some people in. He didn't just get some people. He sort of said, well, a lot of other musicians, a lot of other singers were real big fans of Frankie Miller, and I think he just sort of said, "Who fancies being involved in this?" And you ended up with a cast of thousands coming in on this, and it's sort of like duets, other people coming in to finish the songs off. Now you'll have to excuse me while I look away from the camera to read these off the back, because I need you to know the names of some of these people. And I've forgotten to bring me magnifying glass with me. I don't know where I've put it. It'd be in a drawer somewhere. And I can't be bothered to go and look for it. Here's the truth. So I'm going to try and see if I can read what's on that back. Now you see the first track here we've got, I can't necessarily read the songs, but I can see that Joe Walsh is on it. Now Joe Walsh connected with a band we've just had before, of course, isn't he? James Gang. So all this music's all interconnected. And Joe Walsh had also been on the last proper album that he'd made a few years before as well. Second track, Elton John and Steve Cropper. Third track, Huey Lewis. Fourth track, Bonnie Tyler. Fifth track, Rod Stewart and Joe Walsh again. All come in to add their instruments, add a bit of singing, turn it into a duet. Brilliant idea, and it's great. Next track, Francis Rossi. Next track, Kiki D and Jose Antonio Rodriguez. Next track, Kid Rock. Next track, Steve Dickens. Next track, Delbert McClinton. All these people. What do we get after that? Kim Carnes, Willie Nelson, Tomoyasu Hotel, I think that says. I can't quite read that. Paul Carrack, Stuart Emerson, Brian Cadd, John Part, and then Larry Zackatak at the end. There's just a load of great people. Listen, also in there, I'll put the book on the floor. There we go. I'll try to edit that out. Not only do you get the CD with all those songs on, but you also get a DVD, Sending Me Angels, which is a lovely little DVD as well. So it's a really nice idea, that, and it's a good album as well. I was a little bit worried when I first sort of saw it. I thought, well, is this going to be a bit like patched together, sort of whatever, and is it going to sound right? Not only does it sound right, it sounds great, and they've done a really good job of putting it together. It's well worth investing in this. I'm sure you can still get on it. It's not that old, to be honest. It's probably, I was going to say, not that old. Probably, it's probably good 10 years probably now. But anyway, it's well worth getting. It's a good album. Fits in nicely with all the other Frankie Miller albums, and we still hope that one day we'll get some more. So there it is. That's today's Crushed Custard Random Album Generator. Now, those of you may have seen a video that's come out just before this one, where I talk about the digital diversion, where we're going to have a digital thing and I'll mention an album in that. Well, the fact of the matter is I recorded that video that's already gone out just a little while before this one. You can tell I've got the same shirt on, although I've done an extra button up and I've stood up. So I haven't had a chance to listen to that. So that will come along in the next one, which will be coming up very soon. I've already got the numbers and the albums selected for that. So if you're enjoying these, please do try and join in. Send me some numbers. Remember, 3 numbers between 1 and 75. I figured out it's better to say between 1 and 75 because sometimes they've only got 75 in a shelf. So 3 numbers between 1 and 75, and we'll see what albums they generate. The random number generator will generate the shelf number that we use, and it's interesting as well to notice it so far. Every single episode we get a connection to Deep Purple, but we've never actually had a Deep Purple album yet. So I wonder if their particular shelf will come up and what we'll end up with. So anyway, so there we go. Please send me some numbers. Keep pressing the like and the subscribe button. I haven't got a clue how the subscribe button works. Last week I think we got 49 and then we suddenly went up to 63 and I thought, oh wow, we're taking off, and it went back down to 49 again. So I don't know whether 14 people took one look at me and thought, oh God, no, I don't want any more of him, and immediately left, or whether the numbers were wrong. But anyway, it's good that we're creeping it up, and I'm not just talking to myself, and it's not just Dave and Tony and Stephen that are watching. Also, maybe the digital thing will come in, because we'll get some crazy stuff with that, and I'm sure that'll get some talking going. So we'll try that as well, and I'll look forward to seeing you all next time.